Hey folks, Greg and Janet here with Strange RV Tours, and today we are in Hot Springs, Arkansas. For many of you that don't know, Hot Springs, Arkansas is where spring training baseball began years and years ago. So we're going to go back and look at some of the interesting locations here and see what we can find.
More history, baseball history. Cool.
So join us. I'm standing directly across the street from where Whittington Park stood at, I think it's 841 or so Whittington Avenue. Anyway, Fogle Field. This field, also known as Fordyce Field, was constructed in 1912 by the Hot Springs Park Company to meet the demand of over 250 major leaguers training in Hot Springs. Philadelphia Phillies owner Horace Fogle leased the field for his team. The Phillies roster included pitching legend Grover Cleveland Alexander and slugging outfielders Gabby Cravath and Sherwood Magee. The training ground was later used by the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it's kind of in a hidden area here. But my wife, being the sleuth that she is, saw this sign here that said Fogle Field and pointed towards it. Sunlight's probably hitting the camera in the wrong direction, but can't help that right now. Oh wow, they still have the leveled ground for the field. Beautiful. This is Fogle Field, also known as Fordyce Field. I'm not sure if I'm right now standing at home plate or in center field, based on the fact that the area behind me is so much lower. This is probably center field. Yeah, I would imagine I'm coming in on center field now. Beautiful. How cool is that, huh? Historic place here. It's amazing that this place is still flat like this and they haven't built anything else on it. Philadelphia Phillies leased this facility, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. So this would have been the home field for Honus Wagner. Neat, very neat. If I could just hear the fans cheering.
That has the green.
We actually found some cinder blocks here at Fogle Field, or Fordyce Field, that were probably part of the structure back in the day. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can see the layers of paint.
Wow. You look right down this hill, there's all kinds of cinder blocks left. And right over here, this was the playing field, right here. That was probably part of the outfield bleachers. All right, we are now standing on the other side of Fogle or Fordyce Field, where the Pittsburgh Pirates used to hold spring training. And this was the field that Honus Wagner would tear around the bases. Honus Wagner's probably, in my opinion, he was one of the top 5 major league players of all time. Incredible, incredible man. He also is the person whose picture is on the most valuable baseball card in the world. A 1910 T206 Honus Wagner. Wayne Gretzky used to own one of them. I don't know if he still does, but he paid $1 million for it. And that was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. No telling what it's worth now in top condition. But I am not sure if this is center field here or if this is home plate. Upon further review and looking at the circular circumference of the trees, of the tree line area here, I'm guessing this was probably center field. I'm sorry, this was probably center field, and home plate was on the other side where we were earlier. Neat place though. This place actually serves as an overflow parking lot for the Hot Springs Alligator Farm, which is also where Babe Ruth's home run ball landed in one of the alligator ponds on his 573-foot home run shot. And look at the girl over there trying to be a baseball player. This is really cool. Some of you people may not appreciate this the way that I do, but I'm sure that there's a lot of baseball fans that would love to be sitting right here or standing right here with us right now checking this place out. Cy Young. For decades, the Missouri Pacific Railroad Depot was the bustling transportation hub of Hot Springs. On February 24th, 1938, legendary pitcher Cy Young received a triumphant reception here upon his return to the Spa City. Young, who won 511 games as a pitcher and holds a major league record that still stands, trained in Hot Springs many times. All right, this used to be the train station. And 1 year after Cy Young, his nickname was Cy, stood for Cyclone because he threw the ball so hard. 1 year after his election into the Hall of Fame, he came back to Hot Springs, arriving at this train station, and the city of Hot Springs had a parade for him. That his parade car was followed by over 100 vehicles. There's also over 2,000 people in attendance that day watching the parade. Something interesting about Cy Young that I've heard for years was that early in his career, his manager actually noticed that he wasn't throwing the ball as hard as he normally does. Whenever they would get a big lead, he would actually not throw the ball as hard. And his manager asked him why he did that, and he told his manager that baseball's not any fun if you don't get to hit. That he felt that he threw the ball so hard that most hitters couldn't hit the ball. So he would actually lighten up on some of the hitters, just not to hurt their feelings. It was a different time. It was a different time. All right, we are standing in front of Hot Springs High School. Beautiful, beautiful building. And here is a plaque to Walter Johnson. Walter Johnson trained in Hot Springs over many seasons, generally regarded as the greatest pitcher in baseball history. He could also swing the bat. In 1911 at Whittington Park, the Big Train hit 3 long home runs in 3 days. On February 27, 1925, Johnson, known as one of the game's finest gentlemen, made a civic appearance here at Hot Springs High School with his friend Babe Ruth. Isn't that beautiful? A beautiful high school, man. Something else that is interesting about Walter Johnson, his nickname was the Big Train, and he was named that by a sports writer because of how large a man he was and how hard he threw the baseball. He was Nolan Ryan before there was a Nolan Ryan. He was the man who everybody knew threw harder than anybody else, and everybody was always trying to figure out just how hard he threw. They used everything from military radar guns to speeding motorcycles against his fastball to see just how hard he threw. And in reality, he probably threw in the mid to high 90s. He threw extremely hard, but he was a wonderful, wonderful pitcher and a great man. The old Hot Springs High School here is now an apartment complex. That's pretty cool. You actually have an apartment inside the old high school. The Flying Dutchman, Honus Wagner. No player left a bigger legacy in Hot Springs than the Flying Dutchman. He enjoyed the baths and all the activities Hot Springs had to offer. He also participated in civic functions and coached the high school basketball team. Honus played in dozens of classic baseball games at Whittington Park. On March 19th, 1911, he recorded a single, triple, and a home run while his Hall of Fame manager Fred Clark hit 2 home runs. Right here on this corner at Olive and Central, it used to be a skating rink. And in 1909, I believe, Honus Wagner refereed a game here between Memphis High School and Hot Springs High School. Memphis won the game 34-24. The uniforms that the Hot Springs basketball team wore were donated to the team, and their sneakers donated to the team by Honus Wagner himself. The colors that they wore that day were the Pittsburgh Pirate colors, black and gold. Before that time, Hot Springs High School, their colors were maroon and white. But ever since the donation of those jerseys, or uniforms, and the shoes, they adopted the colors black and gold that they still use today. Tris Speaker, often regarded as Major League Baseball's greatest defensive outfielder, the Gray Eagle trained for many years in Hot Springs as a player and as a manager. On March 18, 1912, at Whittington Park, Tris Speaker hit a home run over the left field fence. He enjoyed every aspect of the city's culture and is still remembered for his iconic photograph riding a stuffed alligator. Tris Speaker was a member of the Masonic Lodge, and this building right over here behind the, or I guess it'd be behind or in front of the plaque, was the Masonic Lodge. So he spent a lot of time here at this corner. He also still holds the Major League Baseball record for 792 career doubles. That's another record that will probably never be broken. Okay, we are on Bathhouse Row here. These were the bathhouses that the baseball players used to boil themselves. They would boil out the impurities in their body and loosen up their muscles. This was a regimented part of spring training. They were required to use these bathhouses, use the hot spring mineral waters to heal their bodies and get ready for the upcoming season. Bathhouses are beautiful the way they've been restored. There's actually some old film footage of Babe Ruth inside of one of the steam machines here. Hot Springs baseball grounds. You are standing where the tradition of baseball spring training began. In 1886, baseball legends A.G. Spalding and Cap Anson brought the Chicago White Stockings, now the Cubs, to this field to train and play spring games. They were joined by fellow Hall of Famers Mike King Kelly, John Clarkson, and future evangelist Billy Sunday. On March 28, 1887, Cap Anson hit 3 home runs here. This is now the Garland County Courthouse. On this site right here, they actually built a makeshift field. The players themselves got out here and actually put the field together. It was right here on Washita Avenue and Hawthorne that the tradition of spring training baseball began. That's a tradition that still goes on today. It's a way for the guys to get together, work out together, get in shape, become a team again, become familiar with each other, so that when the season starts, they're ready to go. So this is Greg and Janet. We appreciate you watching our video and hope you enjoyed our video on the history of spring training in Hot Springs, Arkansas. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you enjoy all of our videos, please hit the subscribe button. And please hit the little bell so that you get notifications as to our future videos. And do not forget